Hey everyone, Jeremy, National Fire Radio. Welcome back to the September edition of the Fire and Safety Services 2024 calendar shoot. Today we're here in the borough of Berlin in southern New Jersey. I'm here with Battalion Chief Mark Maloney. Chief, thanks for having us. So this is cool, right? So we get to travel around New Jersey with fire and safety and document a different apparatus each month for their calendar build. And we love to do the Behind the Build series because what that does is we get to walk around and talk about why they built what they built. And especially with custom fire apparatus, it's good to get into the mindset of understanding why they built the apparatus they did. So Chief, thanks for having us here in Berlin. Starting right from the front, this is a 2023 Pierce Impel. It's a larger chassis. I want to talk about that in a minute. It's got 750 gallons of water. It's got the Husky 3 foam system with a 30-gallon foam cell. It's got 2,000 GPM single-stage pump, and it's a squad engine. Talk to me a little bit about the mindset about the squad engine here in Berlin.
So we have two highways that go through town, so we wanted the capability of having rescue tools on the truck. We're very populated, more residential than business. With our town, there's a lot of townhouses. We needed the water, we needed the GPM and the flow, and this is what we got.
And chatting with you guys before we started to come to understand that you guys are starting to put some volunteer duty crew programs together too. It's nice to have both functions on the truck. So you have your truck and rescue abilities as well as being a first due engine company.
Yeah, so we kind of did that with all of our apparatus. This truck is mirrored off our Quint, it just has a little bit more. So we can handle any call with every truck we have here.
And going with the Impel chassis, it's a little bit bigger than the Enforcer and the Aero XT. So was that part of the consideration?
Yeah, we wanted the room, wanted to be able to move around. That way guys aren't on top of each other. And going with the Impel, we base it off of our other two. We have a Velocity as our rescue and our Quint is an Impel also.
Uniformity matters, especially when it comes to maintenance, the look of the department, all those things do matter, right? And so that's pretty interesting. I love that. Let's talk about what you're doing up front. So you do have your intake here like everybody does for the most part with the front intake, but I'm really interested about your split tray here. Talk to me about what you guys decided to do on the front bumper.
So we went with our blue line is 100 feet of 1 3/4. We use that for our car fires. You know, we're on the highway or anywhere, we can set the truck up as protection for us and nose in up to the fire. And then we have our tan line, which is 150 feet of 1 3/4. Being with the townhouses we have in town, our first two cross lays are most likely going to go in the original fire building, and then we have another 150 foot for an exposure. Or even if we just have to go a little bit further down a driveway or something for a car fire, any type of fire, you have the extra reach, and we can always disconnect and extend if we had to.
Yeah, and the consideration being that your discharge has to be piped to allow for the ability to flow two simultaneous lines off the Y. Makes a lot of sense. I love the auto protection. If we can nose in and pull off the front, we're not pulling off the rear or the sides, just makes better sense. So I love that consideration. I love the reflective steel bumper. So why don't we do this? Let's get into it and walk around. All right, Chief, so here we are at the side of the Impel chassis. I want to get into the mindset of why you guys decided to go with that Impel and then how you actually operate. I know you do riding positions, right?
Yeah, we're a volunteer company, but we still have riding positions. So we have our duty crews that are at certain times and different times of the day,
right,
on certain days. So we have riding positions. You know, we have our driver, chauffeur, our nozzle, and our iron seat. If we're lucky to have four, we have four. If not, we have three.
Right.
And we make do and we get the job done with that.
Of course. Designing around that, though, I know when we walked around before, you started talking about the different locations that the equipment's kept to complement the riding position, right?
Yes.
So your mindset here is if we're pulling up on an investigation as a first due engine, we might not be stretching. We don't stretch on everything, right?
Correct.
So what are we doing?
Our seat right here is our nozzleman seat. So when he gets out of the truck, he has his water can right here, grabs his can, and his hook is right here to grab it and just go.
So they go in on the investigation, and then if a line needs to be pulled, they come back out, they grab their line, or the second-in company will grab that line.
Correct.
And get moving. Beautiful. I love the area within. We have a lot of compartmentation inside, too, that keeps things tucked up and away, super clean and neat. Mm-hmm. And then seating. How many seats do you have inside the cab?
6.
So you're going to work, and you have the potential to put 6 guys on this rig as you go out the door.
Yes.
I love it. Cool. All right, Chief. So at the pump module now, We're talking a 2,000 GPM single-stage pump, 750 gallons of water on board. You also have the Husky 3 foam system with a 30-gallon foam cell. Talk to me a little bit about the introduction of foam on this truck.
So we can get foam out of all of our pre-connected discharges. We use a Firebolt A and B foam. We're using it for our vehicle fires, but then we can also use it on structure fires, brush fires,
Sure.
whatever we need to use it on.
So talk to me your cross-lay department. Other than the front bumper we talked about before, you guys also primarily stretch off the cross-lay.
Yes, so we have 2 1 3/4 cross lays. They're 200 feet each. And then we have a 2.5 inch cross lay that's also 200 feet.
Right, and you're running a combination of smoothbore and fog nozzles, correct?
Yes, 1 1 3/4 is combination and the other one's a smoothbore.
I love the introduction of foam and to be able to have a foam cell on board with the simplicity of the Husky system to literally hit 1 or 2 buttons and we're introducing foam immediately to the line, especially for highway runs, short-staffed incidents, structural fires, running that combination A-B, it's a home run.
Yes, absolutely.
I love it. So something that caught my eye right away was the length, right? This is a 52-inch compartment, typically not your first compartment on an engine company. Right behind the engineer's compartment is usually not this wide. So I believe 52 is the largest compartment you can get on a Pierce body. And I go, there's not much here. Was it for the Little Giant? You're like, no, not even close. It's not about the Little Giant. It just happened to fit there. The other side is a rescue compartment, right? It has all your extrication equipment, your struts and things like that. So we're gonna get to that. That drove the build then. That drove the reason for the 52-inch compartment.
Yeah, and the Little Giant happened to fit here and it worked out because we use it a lot. We get a lot of alarm calls. We're checking detectors and everything. And we got tired of having to go up high to get it. All our other trucks, it's up high. Yep. I'm short. We got a lot of short guys here, so we went, put it down low, easy to grab.
Yeah, makes sense. Driver's compartment here for their gear, correct?
Yes.
Good. And then what are we doing with the toolbox storage?
Toolbox is all your adapters and appliances. This is pretty much the driver's compartment with the exception of the EMS stuff.
Okay.
We got our electrical box here for the generator.
You do have an onboard generator. I think it's a 6 kW.
Yes.
So let's do this. Let's come to the compartment over to wheel well now. What was the consideration here? What are we doing up top?
Here we just kind of matched our quint. So on our quint is where we had the available space to put all our RIT and our rope stuff. So trying to keep everything uniform. That way you don't have to remember, where stuff is in each truck.
Sure.
All in the same spot.
Yep.
Different stuff are big, easy. We get a lot of people that are locked out of their car with children in it.
Got it.
So it's right here, grab and go.
You have a driver's SCBA, right,
Yep.
within?
Yep.
You guys do a lot of away games, I hear.
Yes.
So driver, if he's not operating the pump, he's obviously packing up and coming to play with you guys.
Yeah, we got no problem parking the truck and everybody goes.
Yeah.
Nobody sits with it.
The one thing that I recognize too, a lot of times over the wheel well, we're going to be putting tool boards in. And then you start looking at people's apparatus, different departments' apparatus, and they have tool boards on both sides. They have an abundance of tools, hand tools, that they never use, right?
Yeah.
So you elected to remove that from this side. You have tool boards on the other side, which makes sense. And this is great for bag storage. I absolutely love it. Everything's clearly marked, really well done. I want to talk about this real quick. This has been a popular topic lately on the apparatus innovation content we've been doing, where we talk about the diesel fill and the DEF. And this was really interesting. When I looked behind the compartment door, I saw that the factory at Pierce actually put this small door in to block off the DEF from the diesel fill. I just think it's kind of interesting. I've never seen that before. So surprising that the factory elected to do that on their own. I think it's pretty cool. It eliminates any potential for exposure or confusing which liquid's got to go where. Yep. But it's also keeps it a little bit cleaner and tighter from the crystallization of the DEF and so on. So pretty cool move. And then what are we doing back here in the rear compartment?
So we have our hydrant bag set up.
Yep.
Because with our riding position and the forward-facing seat on this side, that's our hydrant seat.
Right.
So he's getting out on this side, grabbing the hydrant bag and going. We got our 4x5 fan and then all our lighting. And then we have our high-rise packs. We have 2 bundles of 100 feet 1 3/4 and a D-foot length of 2.5.
And again, it's another 52-inch compartment here. And so you're able to get your bundles up top and then your equipment down below. And we have power in the compartment for charging your fan when you're done. Cool, why don't we work our way around the back? It's a great build. I can't wait to see what else you're doing. All right, Chief, so we're at the rear of Squad 21-1. Let's talk about what you're doing back here. It's a Squad engine. 750 gallons of water plus a 30-gallon foam cell and a booster line in the rear. It's going to push our hose bed up a little bit, but typically it's supply in the rear. What do you have?
So we got 1,000 feet of 5-inch hose, 800 feet of 2.5-inch, that we would use either for supply or, extending lines
Sure.
for, sit back compartments and whatnot. And then we have a pre-connected 400 feet of 1.75 inch.
Yeah, in case your 200 pre-connects don't reach, right? So I love it. But when you think about it, you guys are primarily operating off the front bumper and the midship. So what's in the rear is going to be backup, if that, right? So it makes sense. Ladders, we got a 24 and 14, and your hooks. Booster line, what do you use your booster line for? Nuisance fires, things like that?
Nuisance fires, dumpsters, brush fires. So we have using on car fires that it's just when it's just to the engine compartment.
Engine compartment,
When we're, not on a busy highway, we'll pull it off the back.
Totally get it. And then you got 2 hard sleeves, right? With some attic ladder, some pike poles, and different trash hooks and so on. I saw up in this one. And then the ladder way here, people look at engine companies from the rear all the time and they go, oh my God, the hose bed's so high. And they get lost in not understanding how you guys operate. The ladder way is just to make it a little bit simpler because it's a squad engine. You've got some coffin space up top too. What are we keeping up top?
We have a couple different extinguishers up there, shovels, extra oil dry, our hazmat booms and absorbent pads, extra cribbing.
Yeah.
And then we have our appliances for our drafting, our floating docks, our strainers.
Love it.
And our floor mounts.
So it's great. So just being able to have this ladderway here, it's a lot easier than climbing up on the traditional steps and so on. Makes a lot of sense. I love it. Let's work our way around. This is the side that I really want to talk about. Okay, Chief, so we're working our way down the officer side now. Everybody loves the saw compartment. We got rotaries, 2 different rotaries, forcible entry and wood. I see we have the small little electric cutoff, and then we have some chainsaws and so on. So the mindset behind this, it's task-oriented, right?
Yes.
So your guys come back here, they pick what they need and go to work.
Yeah, we have gas and electric saws. We have a 12-inch DeWalt saw. We cut, 3 or 4 holes in the roof one night that had about 6 layers of shingles on it.
Yeah.
And just blew right through it.
I love the little rotary for like the OV position where they can do Bilco doors, window bars, chain link fences, things like that. It's a nice little tool. It's lightweight. Put a sling on it, throw it over your shoulder, off you go. I love it. Up top here, we have a gang charger for your batteries, which is for your extrication equipment that we're going to get to, as well as your saws, right? You got brooms and then your absorbent dry. Squad company, you're doing fluids. All right, Chief, so we're working our way down. We're over to wheel well now on the officer side. Riding positions matter to you guys, and so we have to set our truck up for success so that the riding positions can come out and grab their equipment. What are we doing here?
So our iron seat is on this side of the truck. All the forcible entry stuff is on this side of the truck. We want to keep the tools out of the cabs. When we pull up, he's going to get out of the truck. He's going to grab his irons, and then our other seat right next to him is if we have an extra guy, if we're fortunate that day, he's going to grab his hook and his can, and everything's right here on the side of the truck.
Also, too, you got your cylinder storage. So on the other side, it was DEF and diesel in one. You had your driver pack. So the only spare cylinders you have are right here. Right, and you have an extra one for each riding position, and then also an extinguisher you don't use very often is just your Purple K. And then not only that, but Chief, open that tool board real quick because this is what I like too. The fact that this build has plenty of room to go, so you guys have room to grow into it as your duties and responsibilities increase.
Correct.
So Chief, on the other side, we were talking about the 52-inch compartment and why it's a larger compartment, right? Seeing what you guys elected to do on the squad engine, it makes a lot of sense. Talk to me about the design here and what you have.
So we chose this area to put all our extrication and MVA and rescue stuff in here because it's the same thing on our Quint. So we have all our struts, our battery-powered spreader and cutter, Amka spreader and cutter, all our cribbing, all our bottle jacks, ratchet straps, clusters, chain, slings, everything is all right here, along with our sawzalls, grinders, and glass cutters.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty comprehensive, the amount of equipment that's here. And so to be a squad engine, you're going to be expected to at least get the initial cuts done, remove doors, you can do roofs, you can do a dash roll with the equipment you have right on board. So to be supplemented by a heavy rescue, which you have 2 bays over, we'll get there after the squad, right?
Yes.
It's just really well laid out. I think it's smart. And when you start looking at the design, you guys weren't hampered with the overall length of your engine. I think it's just under 38 feet long. It's not prohibitive in its size, but it's nice to have these larger compartments to take care of all your extrication equipment. So super smooth. I love it, man. Let's keep working our way down. One thing that caught my eye, a lot of times the Blitz fire we're going to have tucked away in a compartment. You guys have it pre-connected. What's the mind thought there for you?
So we have a lot of houses in town, like I said, townhouses, and they all have attached garages.
Right.
So if we pull up and that garage is off to the races hammering, and with limited manpower we have now in the volunteer world, one guy can stretch that and operate by himself and get a good knock on it while another guy is stretching the cross lay to get inside.
No doubt. And then on the other side, it's just the other side of your cross lays, and then you're running 2 hooks here, and then back to it. We have a chemical extinguisher inside, and so on. So really nice build, really well put together. Why don't we head up towards the front and we'll recap. What a great tour. Squad Company, 21-1, Borough of Berlin. Thank you for having us, man. It was a fantastic Behind the Build episode for September 20th, 24. I just want to talk about the process real quick. I mean, you know, departments put together apparatus committees. They're usually made up of some officers, some chiefs, and then some backstep guys and girls that want to have input in the build. And so mixing all that up and then working with fire and safety, how was the process for you?
Fire and safety was great to work with. We had our salesman, Ed Miller, who has done our other 3 trucks for us, actually. I believe this is one of his last that he's selling. From start to finish, the communication's great. You know, we tell him what we're looking for, comes with all the different options, and we get to work. It was about a 6 to 8 month process of design and meetings, and this is the final product.
Yeah, and then for preventative maintenance and so on, you use them for your PMs and so forth?
Yes.
I know through working with other departments too throughout this process that part of the process has been very easy too. Battalion Chief Mark Maloney, thank you, Chief. Appreciate it. So thank you for tuning in for another episode of the Behind the Build video series with Fire and Safety Services out of New Jersey. For more information, check out YouTube and social media. You can go to Fire and Safety, www.f-ss.com for more information and a complete library of the 2024 Behind the Department and Behind the Build video series. And we'll see you next month. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Jeremy with National Fire Radio.